All right, so we're gonna just dive right in, my friend. So first of all, Jordinlaine, how are you doing today?
I'm good. The sun is out here.
Good.
I don't know if you know, but I live in central Canada
Ah,
and the
yes.
winter has just been dragging on. So the sun is out today for the first time in like ages and I'm
Awesome.
so happy about it. So my day cannot be bad.
There's something very important. First of all, I'm happy to hear that. And it's something very important to note about just how amazing the sun is. I was just talking to someone the other day, right? Being outside and having that fresh air and having the sun beat down, it sounds like a bad thing, but having the sun shine down on us, it makes you feel so different than like the days where that you don't get a chance to go outside and you're like indoors all day. You just feel like the worst, right?
It's so true. It's like it seems like such a small thing, but it's actually
Yeah.
so huge in like your well-being and how you feel. I was sick like a while back
Mm.
and like the whole couple weeks after we had like storms and snowstorms and cloudy and it was just like I felt like I couldn't get better cuz this just
Hmm.
because the sun wasn't out. It very much affects us, I think.
It's so true. And
Yeah.
so I live in New Jersey. And so I'm wondering if where you said central Canada, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, in Jersey, we have, very cold winters, very hot summers, I guess maybe is the best way to say it, where we have a lot of snow in the winters. And maybe like one third of the year for me is like too cold for me to be comfortable outside, like walking around and stuff like that. And so at a time, I used to think when I was younger, I used to say to myself, like, I really enjoy the change of seasons, which I still do because after a long winter, then you have like that first string of nice temperature days when you go outside and you're like, this is what I've been waiting for. But now as an adult, I really value, as clearly do you from your sentiment there, like really value being outside so much. And I think about like it's nice to have the transition, but how much nicer might it be to have just straight up beautiful weather year round? And that's what I've
Mhm.
been thinking about. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. The reason we live up here is because we have so much access to like just outdoor space. Like we love
Oh,
to go
okay.
camping and just spend the
Nice.
whole entire summer, outside and on the beach and on the lake and fishing and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
um I feel the same way as you. I try to embrace the winter because it comes, you want to live here, you want to have all this access to this beautiful forest outside. You got to like, I don't know, you got to live somewhere. I feel like that you got to pay the price somehow. There's no
Sure.
perfect place to live,
Sure.
but I do agree. I'm just like, oh, wouldn't it be so nice to have that like little bit of an extension on those summer months?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if the perfect place exists because right
I
here where we live, like I don't have to pay to go camping. We can go out. It's super private. Like we're the only ones. And I just
That's
feel like
really
that's
cool.
so hard to come by. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's well said. It definitely is a trade off. When I used to see like when I was growing up, I used to like I had like a I guess a realization that wow, there are kids, in this world who have Christmas time without any snow, and I was like, what even is that? That's not like how is that possible? Like it can't that can't be,
I know.
and it's a trade off just across the board. Um, I want to ask a question. So, I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
share with you that I've been really enjoying these conversations just from when I first started them, and then it's like it's building so much excitement for me being able to connect with people this way. And the two types of people that I've been kind of focusing a little bit more on having on have been streamers who specialize as musicians like yourself, and then also people in like the music producer slash content music content creation space. And for me, I've just learned so much stuff. I've had such amazing talks. Someone mentioned the other day that it was a guest that I had on who has his own podcast, and he mentioned something that really resonated with me. He said, like, Kev, how often do we have like a hour long intimate conversation with someone who's in a similar lane as us, right? You're in a similar lane, even though I don't do as much like streaming right now. I'm planning to get back into it soon. But in terms of being a musician, having your, being a creator, having your identity, online and stuff, and it's just like therapeutic. It's informative. It's something that like I look forward to the first moment after this talk when I have a chance to join your stream. And like, there's something special there. It's like, oh, it's like, you know who I am a little bit, but now we know each other more and stuff. And so I'm super excited to dive into the conversation. I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to start.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I totally agree. I feel like we're so used to consuming on a one-way level, and to sit down and just have a conversation with someone is very special nowadays. So thank you for having me. For sure.
So let's go years back. We're not gonna say how many years. We're not gonna put anyone's age out there, but just go years back and like tell me a little bit about like who young Jordin was. Like, what were you like growing up?
Yeah, so I was definitely like a weirdo. Like, I feel like, weren't we all a little bit?
Nice.
Like,
yes,
anyone who's into like, nerd internet streaming culture was a little bit of a weirdo growing up. I feel like, and still am. But I was like the tall kid in my class. I always like to like explore my fashion, just like wearing different things than everybody else. I always wanted to be like a little bit different with my music taste, and I was just trying to like, I don't know, find my individuality, I guess. And I grew up in a musical family. My dad plays guitar and sings, and so does my brother. And so that was kind of just like one of the things that I picked up. I've had like so many hobbies over the years, but that was definitely one that stuck. I picked up a guitar when I was, I think, 13, and I started songwriting, shortly after that. And that's kind of what hooked me to music for like the long haul, was just being able to like express myself. Like I said, I always wanted to be different. I was trying to express myself through my clothes and like picking up different hobbies and stuff. And when I found that, I just found like an outlet to, say what I wanted to say in such, an open and unique way. So that was pretty big moment. However, I also really struggled a lot when I was younger with insecurity and, being a little bit different and not really finding my confidence until like the last few years of my life.
Wow. Okay.
So I had this like beautiful passion, but I didn't want to share it with anyone. So it was kind of like definitely had some struggles with music when I was younger, but yeah.
Well, what's powerful about that is as we transition into having access to a platform like Twitch, where you can you have your creative outlet, and maybe just as important is like you're doing something that for an audience, like you're providing immense value, as I'm sure you will realize, in terms of all the things you do, the entertainment, motivation, positive vibes, all these things that people come to your stream for. Like, you have you have the ability, right, to be able to not check both of those boxes, to do something you enjoy and to like help others and stuff, which is incredible as we sort of transition into Twitch itself. Like, what would you say if I throw out there, like, what's one of the things that you love most about the platform Twitch, or even just about streaming just in general, having your community?
Yeah. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is just like the gift that the streaming world has given me to find a place to start to, really like tune up my craft of music and singing and songwriting, and also be myself and build my confidence up to share music. Like, that's I feel like the first thing that the streaming world gave me. And then the next thing that comes to mind is just like the connections that I'm making with people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, like a personal connection, like we know each other. It's just like, it can just be like a little tiny spark of someone coming in and being like, have you ever heard this song? And me being like, oh yes, like no one ever requests that song before. Like, and there's just like this little tiny moment of connection with people. And that's like on the smallest scale. Then you get on like the bigger scale where you're playing music for people and they're like, something tragic happened to me. I needed that. Or, the connection can happen on such a small to large scale. And that was kind of the thing that hooked me to the streaming world. I was like, I didn't think that I could make those kinds of connections online. It was very surprising to me, actually, but it was so obvious and very strong. So
When would you say you started streaming approximately? Like how long ago?
yeah, I think it's coming up to 4 years maybe. I'm 2 years
Okay.
on Twitch,
Okay.
coming up in June, and I was streaming on Mixer, which was owned by
Okay.
Microsoft before I came to Twitch.
Got you.
For about
Okay.
2 years, I think. So kind of like 4 years in the streaming world, but 2 years on Twitch.
Yeah. You know, I was having a conversation. Do you know who Julie Clark is? Julie Clark's streamer?
Yes,
Okay.
that
So I was
name
talking.
sounds very familiar.
Sounds familiar? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. She's a pianist and Twitch streamer, as well. And I didn't release her episode yet, but I spoke to her just recently, and I was sharing with her sort of like I took a pretty significant break. So first of all, I welcomed a baby girl into this world like a few weeks ago, which is super exciting.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever, as I expected it to be, but it's really, really enjoyable. And so even prior to that, I took a big break from Twitch, and I remember like having a little bit, and I should say not even just a break from Twitch, but rather just a break from streaming in general, because I used to do a lot like on Reddit, because like the discoverability was crazy on that platform, and like when I first discovered that, that's what kind of that was my entryway into live streaming, 2+ years ago, I guess now. Where I just was able to play the piano and play by ear and just get requests from people and like see the numbers of viewers. It was like one of those moments I'll never forget. So that's what kind of gave me that spark. Like, oh wow, I'm confident enough now in my ability to be able to play in front of people, and basically be able to like inspire the same way that you mentioned, right? Like entertain and inspire, that type of thing. But I took a break from it, and I think one of the big things that I experienced, like in terms of why I needed to take a break, was because I was realizing that just because I was doing anything creative in my studio here, whether it was playing the piano, whether it was making music on some gear that I have, or producing my iPad or anything, just because I was doing any of those things, my mindset at the time, and it certainly has changed since then, but my mindset was, this is an opportunity for me to have a live stream up on any of those given platforms, because there's a chance that someone might be watching or people might be watching, and there's a chance for me to grow my brand. So I looked at like which is all true statements, right? Like these are all factual, like that all can happen, but I didn't associate like what is the trade-off with it. Well, let's take practicing piano, for example. If I wanted to, practice how to play something or learn something, there's in order to be, I think, a good streamer, like there's a sense of engagement with the audience that can take away from, if you're focusing on practicing or focusing on one thing. And so unless if you're maybe, I don't know, I mean, I was gonna say really big, but I've seen some streamers, I was doing like a little homework, and I've seen people who can do that, who are less engagement, and like the chat is like doing their own thing, chatting with each other. So I've seen that as well. But it was really good, like a reflective moment to kind of take a step back. And I will say that there's been so many amazing things about it. So I'm excited to get back into it, knowing what I know now, which is that having some balance, having some boundaries, knowing that what everyone has said, I'm pretty sure you have like a schedule probably as well. Like that's probably critical to kind of stick to that as best you can, and know that what I said earlier, just because you can stream is not necessarily something that you should always be doing, right?
Yeah, I've always liked to think that every time I go live or even create anything, there has to be like some intention behind it. And there is like a narrative in the streaming world that like you gotta be like live all the time to be successful, and I agree with it to some degree, which is sad. However, I do think that you can make it work. You can succeed if you are doing things that also have balance in your life, but if they have intention. So there's like a little bit of, I don't know, that people they kind of just know what to expect when you're releasing things, and not exactly like there's a little bit of a surprise element or a chaotic element in streams. Certainly it's live, right? But there is like just a little bit of predictability, that they know what your intention is, they know what your values are and why you do what you do. I think that is so important to share and just live that. Because I feel like if you're not doing that, then you're right. You're just kind of like clicking the button, and it's great. It's great to put yourself up there, but when you have that intention behind you, I feel like there's so much passion that just shines through.
Absolutely. Super detectable by people who may just hop in for a few seconds, and they're able to see that and be like, wow, that I can't stay for long, but that really resonated with me. Or, wow, I didn't plan on staying for long, and now I want to see where this kind of like leads to and stuff.
I think so.
That totally makes sense. There's a feature. So one of the things that I kind of was and still am very, very interested in is, staying abreast of the updates to different platforms and like where the streaming world is going and what other platforms and things like that. And so me having my sort of stake, like my main platform of choice where most of my content lives is on YouTube. That's kind of where I started my whole content creation journey. And so for a while, I was struggling with the idea of where should I be streaming? Should I be on Twitch? Should I be on YouTube? Should I be elsewhere? And so for a while, I was like, let me pull back the what is it called? The affiliate status on Twitch so that I can stream on both together. And I was like experimenting with a lot of different things. But there was one feature on YouTube that I said to myself, if this ever comes, it's going to be. And I like challenged to not always say game changer, because everything can't be a game changer. But I felt really strongly that like if this feature came, like it would be a big deal for people like myself who have a vested interest and have like a foundation on YouTube and also want to get into, or in my case, continue streaming. And that feature with that big buildup that I just presented with you to you, that feature is like I believe it's called Live Rings. And what it is essentially is if you are watching any one of my many amazing YouTube videos, or anyone's watching any of my YouTube videos, and I happen to be live at that moment, there will be a live ring, like a red ring over my icon, and they can click it if they want, and they can jump into the live session. And so to me, that was like a thing where they both play on each other now, because like the more I put out videos, the better chance people are going to be able to see those, and the more I stream. So I know they're testing it right now, but I'm very excited when I saw that. I was at a coffee shop like in town, and I saw like I guess it was like a YouTube video from the YouTube content creator official channel, and I lost it. I was like, yo, this is about. I was like, yo, coffee on me. Get some Danishes, everyone in here. Let's go. I was so excited,
Yes, that would be. I feel like there's like with YouTube, there's a couple like really key things that they just haven't quite like picked up yet. And if they did, it would make YouTube a huge contender when it comes to live streaming. I mean, like it already is. We've got tons of big names over there. But as a musician specifically, YouTube gaming needs to change to just YouTube. yeah, for sure. There's a lot. Yeah, you're totally right about that. So you posted a really dope picture the other day, as I commented on. It was like an 80s thing. So I want you to like tell me about that. Like what was that all about? And I purposely again didn't like dive in. I was like, let me reserve this for our conversation. So I want to hear a little bit about that. Well, it's definitely not my normal kind of get up on a Thursday afternoon. It's like that. I had like a ponytail and like 80s makeup. No, I just like one thing I've liked to do, which I think a lot of musicians like to do every once in a while, is like theme days, especially like eras. I love to do 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I feel like I play a huge wide variety of music, and sometimes it's nice to just condense it all in one stream and really like immerse yourself in that vibe. So every once in a while I'll throw up a theme day. We did 80s last week. Sometimes I dress up. Sometimes I go full out like I did on Thursday. Like that was like a 2-hour makeup hair session.
Yeah. Did you do it yourself?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did? That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a talent in itself.
Yeah, thank you. I've done a couple. Twitch Goes Emo is like a little event that some music creators have organized in the past. And so I kind of like get my emo get up in like my MySpace era.
Oh wow, yeah.
So yeah, like I've always liked to kind of like dress up or like really get into things, costumes and stuff like that. So that's what we were doing on Thursday. We played a ton of 80s jams. Like there was so many My streams are usually 3 hours. I had to cut it off. There was so many I missed. I'm gonna have to do a part 2 like soon because there were so many good jams. So
are you gonna get dressed up again? That's the question.
I can't. It really depends on the mood. Like, how much effort do I want to put into this today?
Right. I mean, 2 hours is a while. I mean, it certainly was worth it. It got my attention. It got others' attention, I'm sure. But I'm sure that's like a lot of effort and work that kind of goes behind the scenes for that.
I do like it though. I've always loved like makeup and fashion and stuff like that. So
being able, and that's great you say that, being able to pull in other interests of yours and tie them into what your main, or one of your main interests is, which is, playing and performing, is really, really a good thing, really incredible.
Yeah.
I wanted to, ask about streamer song list. So do you use that platform?
Yes.
So that is game changing for me as well, because, as I've been growing my repertoire of songs that I play and perform, of course, without think about not having that platform for a second. Like, we don't have I'll speak for myself. I don't have the capacity to know of all the songs. Like, I'll know how to play them all just because of, musically and stuff. I'm good with that. But to think of, oh, wow, I forgot that I know this song, or I forgot that I was learning this song. So I was looking for a while to kind of figure out. I had a YouTube playlist going for a while of just songs, just so I can utilize that. I've used many different things, like a notes app. I was like, no, this is not it. This ain't it right here. This ain't it, And so streamer song list for me, one of the things that, even without me streaming now, one of the things that's been incredible is, all right, when you're streaming, if you know that you have people that are watching and you have you have your requests open and you know that people are there requesting songs, then you're guaranteed that at least one person wants to hear the song that you're playing, right? And you don't have to think about which song should I play kind of thing. So when I'm not streaming and I'm just sitting at the piano and I just want to not think about what to play, but just be told to play something, this damn random command.
Yeah.
I use it all the time now. It's the best thing ever. It's so simple, of course, but it's I love it so much. It's so good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super indecisive when it comes to what I want to play on stream. Usually I'll I do, people put suggestions in my song list and then I pick and choose from them.
Yeah.
And even that is hard for me. I'm like,
sure.
Sometimes I just
too much.
I have to just go in order or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty nice to have everything all in one place. When I first started streaming, I think I knew 20 songs and I just had them written, like you say, in a notepad, and they would just scroll over my screen in OBS and people would just throw them in the chat.
Yeah.
And then because I used to
be a better way.
There was. I was actually streaming on Mixer at the time, and one of our friends, Eric, who is a developer for Firebot, which is a bot that people can use on Twitch, he built me a song list bot when I was on Mixer, and it was similar to streamer song list, but it was a little bit more ground level. And he built me this whole bot, and people could request songs and put it on the screen, and it was it was awesome. And then other people started using it. It was really, really cool. And then of course when I came to Twitch, everyone was like, there's a bot that already exists. It's got a couple more features, and so I hopped on board with that one. But it's been a journey. Cool.
Even to have moments like that, things to reflect on, to reminisce on, I guess we'll say, is pretty cool in itself.
Yeah.
So I see a red keyboard there. That must be a Nord.
It is.
Okay. What keyboard do you have?
This is the Nord Electro 6D.
Nice. Okay. 61 key, right?
73.
73 key. Okay.
Which I'm glad I got. 73.
That extra octave is clutch, isn't it? You don't want to feel constrained. You're like, oh, I'm playing this and I have to hit this octave button and that distracts. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I never really used a 73 key. I have an 88 key here, and I've used 61 before. I never used a 73, and I'm curious. I imagine that a 73 would all but eliminate. How often? I guess the question for you: how often do you need to change octaves on there, if ever?
I don't.
Probably never, right?
No, it's honestly, it's amazing. I thought I went from 88 to 73 and I was like, oh, it's going to feel so constricted. But with what I'm doing, because it's mostly it's mostly an accompaniment. I'm just learning how to do some kind of lead stuff. I don't really ever need to.
Not necessary.
No.
So then at that point, the only trade-off is, and it's, I guess, preference very much, but between weighted, and I'm sure that is a semi-weighted
This is
type deal,
semi-weighted.
right? So do you prefer that in certain instances, or do you prefer a weighted key bed, just generally speaking?
I went from weighted to semi-weighted, and I thought I was gonna dislike semi-weighted, but I actually think I like it better. Again, for what I'm doing. If I'm like writing music, like I don't know if it's like the novelty of it or whatever, but I'll go upstairs to our piano, and I just like that vibe better. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's more of like, I don't know. It's like liking vinyl. It's like, you know, you go upstairs to the piano with the weighted keys, and it's just like a vibe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll write music on a keyboard, no problem. But there's something about the weighted that just, I don't know, it feels a little bit more intimate and something like that. So when I'm just like pumping out songs on stream, I love this. Yeah. But if I want to sit down and do some writing and stuff like that, I do love to go upstairs to the piano. So.
Yeah. You have an acoustic piano upstairs? Is that what you mentioned?
Yeah, like it's like a small upright piano. Yeah.
I think to me, that's I mean, one of the major things that you mentioned is like acoustic, and it is a follow-up for the next question I'm going to ask, but an acoustic instrument in itself is like, it doesn't need to be plugged in, so it's not, like you said, not digital. So there's something else going on inside this machine, inside this box, that's able to generate sound. Kind of like the segue into like something that's been on my mind is how amazing, like, do you play the guitar at all?
Yeah, my guitar is also acoustic, no pickup, just straight up. I don't know, I like that. I like that feature in instruments when it comes to being a songwriter.
I was actually at Sam Ash yesterday. I had to return something, and had like a close to hour-long conversation with the manager there, which was really cool. He's into like a lot of the similar like keyboards and synthesizers and stuff that I am, and he's also a guitar player, and which I'm not. But I was mentioning to him that like I believe like the acoustic guitar for me is probably like the coolest instrument, just because it's the reasons that you just said. Plus, it's like travel. I can have it on my back and go to like a park. We talking about being outside. Like that's a vision. I talk about this pretty much on every episode with when it like comes up, just like because it's so much in my mind of like how nice that's going to be once I can play, once I get a guitar and then learn how to play a little bit, and then be able to like play outside and like sing a song without no microphone, just like sing. Like that's something that's like, it's like the chef's kiss for me. I like can't wait until I get there, you know?
That is so true. I think that's something that I've kind of taken for granted, because I have been playing guitar for like almost 20 years, and I just picked up piano the last like 3 years.
Okay.
So I never really thought about that, but there are instances where like, I want my keys, but if I'm outside doing a stream outside or whatever, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, you're right.
How did that transition go, like from playing guitar for so many years? I'm gonna turn my phone upside down. I keep getting these text messages distracting me. They're nothing that's important. Well, I don't know if they're important. I haven't looked at them, but
you
this is
can
more important
look.
right now.
Don't worry.
It's for a tutoring session tomorrow. Yes, I'll do a review. Okay, yeah, we're good. I have a business, a mentor and tutor and piano lesson business. So I took some time off, and then I'm like slowly, starting to bring students in one at a time per week as I kind of get acclimated to being a dad and all that good stuff.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's really cool. So 20 years as a guitar player, and then so I'm very interested in hearing like what that transition was like. Obviously, you had a strong musical background, so that element was there already, but you're learning something totally different. It's like, walk me through the opposite of what I'm going to have to experience, like, soonish.
Yeah. Well, my mother-in-law gifted us a piano that she had bought with some money that her father had left her after he passed. So we suddenly found ourselves with this piano upstairs, and I was just like, this is the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given us. I can't be a musician in my house without learning it. So I just kind of sat down and started like, plucking away as you do, just like very basic 4 on the floor chords. And my husband showed me one trick, which was, to play a regular chord and how to invert it.
Yes. Oh my God.
And that like opened up the whole entire keyboard for me, because suddenly then I
Sure.
knew how to move. It was such a simple thing, but I was like,
Mm.
just with that one tiny little tip, I could start to move all over. And I'm everything I've learned, I've done it by ear. It's just like figuring out patterns and what's a minor, what finger do I need to move to find a minor or a sharp or
Mhm.
whatever. And
Mhm.
I do feel like I picked it up really, really quickly. But I feel like if I would have done the opposite, like piano first, guitar second, it would not have been so easy. I
Mhm.
think that learning guitar first, going to piano, it was an easier transition. Everything's laid out in front of you, right?
Mm. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost got emotional. I love what you just said about the inversion thing, because that is exactly it. That's like it. Once you know that, it's like to move from a C to a G, I don't have to like do this. I can just
Yeah.
move a couple fingers. And once you kind of know that, it is incredible. I look at like the stuff I do on my piano as like kind of two, yeah, well, 2 to 3, but let's say two like distinct different sort of playing styles or playing things that I do. One of them is like when I was doing a lot more streaming, lead sheets and learning the chords from just the names of the chords and singing along, and like that joy that it brings me, being able to seemingly replicate a song that I've listened to many times but now can turn it into my own thing. There's just something unbelievably amazing about that, like using this instrument and the voice instrument together. I just love it so much. And then the other thing is the more classical music and finger exercises, and being able to play something really not poorly, but like when you're first starting, it's
Yeah.
not for why air quotes for first starting. When you're first starting, like what when you're when you're first starting out, it's like you're not good at it yet, but like seeing the progression and then being able to like play something really challenging, and then being able to do it right. Yeah, it's like why like why is that a
Isn't
thing?
everything just in quotations
Yeah.
our whole
Oh,
life?
Oh, you mean everything? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, got it. It's dope just being able to like, I'll spend months doing one of those two things and not doing at all the other one. Like for example, now because I'm not streaming, I don't do as much of the lead sheet stuff. I'm doing more like learning songs, like classical and all that. But it's just really cool for me having, like, if I get a little bit bored or a little bit stuck with something, I like, let me come back over here, let me clear my mind and like do this other thing that I truly enjoy as well on the piano. And I started learning just a few years ago, Jordin, and I'm so blessed and glad that I did, because it is one of the most fun things ever, and like stress relief, and just amazing in so many different ways, having an instrument, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like sometimes I'll go on a break or whatever from from streaming, and I honestly don't play too much music outside of streaming, just because I just get so much of it in when I'm live.
Yeah.
So usually
Yeah.
when I'm on a break, I'm taking a break from music as well, and I
Yeah.
find that like one of those first streams back, I have like I'm all like jacked up, and I
Oh,
like
yes,
have this like
yes.
emotional release, and
Yeah.
I'm just like
Yeah.
so hyper, and then after the stream I'm like, like I just feel like so relaxed. I'm like, geez, I need to
Yeah.
like incorporate this into my day-to-day if I'm taking
Yeah.
a break, because
That is
yeah, it
that's
is.
so true.
Yeah.
Man. All right, so let me ask a couple questions that are unrelated to music, just more about you.
Yeah.
So name a place that you visited that you loved.
I mean, India comes to mind first. It was like my most recent trip. It was
Oh,
pre-pandemic, a year before the pandemic.
okay.
I went to India with a group of my friends, who we all study yoga, and we went there
Ah, wow.
for a couple weeks, and it wasn't a vacation. It wasn't like an easy trip. It wasn't like a go and have just relax the whole time. It was very like it was a taxing trip. If you've been to India, it's very busy, it's loud, the smells are very strong. It's like
Wow.
it's wild. It's like sensory overload. However,
Mhm.
in these pockets in India, there are so many places of just absolute peace, love, devotion, faith, sincerity, and these like just rich places of all those qualities. Like, and so it was a trip there where I grew, and I grew with my friends, my fellow students, and I faced challenges, and I had, breakthrough moments with myself, and I just learned to appreciate so much, and it just brought a lot of gratitude into my life as well. And that was a big one for me. That was a big trip. I've gone on tons of trips, nice, beautiful vacations, but that was that was a big life changer for sure.
That is so cool. So how many of you guys went on that trip?
I think there was like 10 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
yoga is something that, man, I haven't done in a while. When I used to work at Verizon, I have an engineering background, so I worked at Verizon for about 12 years before becoming a middle school math teacher, before doing the full content creation and the entrepreneurial thing with my business. And they used to have, yoga instructors that come, and I took advantage of that for sure. It was actually really dope. Like, just with your gym membership, it was like $15 a month, or maybe it was $15 a paycheck actually, which was like $30 a month. But either way, you had access to like all these classes and like really, really gifted people who knew what they were doing. And I just remember really I didn't enjoy yoga at first because I was so not competitive. I was like, I wanted to be able to do it right. And then I'm like looking at the instructor who's like can do all this stuff. I'm like, I have to do it that way. It's like, no. I have to do it like the way that's comfortable for me. So I had to like really learn it. But over time, like certainly in terms of like I want to get back into it, to be honest with you. I think that when it comes to getting a little bit older and the importance of taking care of your body, things that we do have control over, what we eat and what we do in terms of, exercise, mental health, all that stuff, I do believe that getting back specifically to like an in-person yoga type thing versus the online classes, which are available and probably have skyrocketed due to COVID, but just something about being there, being present. There's something else that you get versus doing it like on your, living room floor or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've been doing it for a number of years now?
Yeah, I think like I kind of started dabbling in yoga like the same way that I feel like so many people do, which is, going to a class in my local studio and feeling the physical benefits immediately, like the relaxation and the openness in your breath and your body and stuff like that. And that's kind of what hooked me. And then it's been like the past maybe 6 years that I've kind of dove a lot deeper into the more ancient teachings of yoga and started studying with a teacher. And I'm also a yoga teacher. I'm not teaching right now, but I did my training, which kind of skyrocketed me to like this deeper realm of yoga that we don't normally see in the media and stuff like that. So it's probably been like 6 or 7 years. And honestly, if it weren't for this like path that I'm on, trying to like better myself and better understand myself and like go within, I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing. Like when I tell you like my insecurity when it came to sharing music before I kind of started really working on myself, it wouldn't have allowed me to do this, even like a conversation like we're having right now. I was so closed off, so scared. But.
And now look at you just shining.
I'm trying.
Boom.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. Well, people really do need to hear things like that, I believe, which is another reason why I think these conversations are important, because I certainly wouldn't, and maybe a lot of others who don't, maybe you do share some elements of this in your streams, but people who maybe have only dabbled in the sphere, the universe that you're in, would not know like these types of things about you. And I do believe that like there's such power, right, and testimony and being able to share these types of things, specifically being able to see the result and the current status of you, and like I'm all about that. So I do appreciate you sharing that for sure. I definitely have always been pretty open with my streaming community. Obviously, if you pop into my Instagram, you're probably not going to get much of that. Like, you see photos, or, even on Twitter, like you only see a certain lens. But on stream, when I'm hanging out with people live, like I do love to share and kind of be open about,
you know, whatever struggles I'm going through day to day, whether it be with my relationship with myself or my husband or as a mother, blah, 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 because it's real. And although, you know, I do feel like I've come a long way and I am so much more confident now than I was a few years ago. It's still, I'm constantly working on it. It's still constantly. So there's always something to share. And I think that it's important because, you know, everyone can relate to just someone being real and not having it all together, because nobody does.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, people, I think, yearn for that level of authenticity. Even, I mean, I was say even if they don't realize it, but I just think, ooh, animal. Is that a dog?
Yep.
Nice.
That's Yoda.
Yoda. Hey, Yoda. What's up? What kind of dog?
He's apparently a purebred Shih Tzu, but he's like massive, so everyone's always like, he's not. But
so maybe mixed with something.
Yeah, he might be.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know why I asked that question. What kind of dog? Because I don't. Not that I don't care, but I don't really know. I don't know dogs. You know.
I ask that question too.
You do ask it.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have? They say. I'm like,
dog?
No idea what that means.
No clue. Yeah, I just like smile and just nod. I'm a huge cat person as well as animal person, but I love cats more than the vast majority of things on this earth. I really do mean that. Like if I saw a cat, like or Jess my wife texts me like, "Hey, there's a cat outside. We may have to put this on hold for a second and go. I'm gonna have to look at it." I love them so much.
Oh, that's cute.
But I adopted a cat shortly before we got engaged, and Jessica said something funny. She told her coworker, my wife told, I'm saying Jessica, but I think you know who that is now at this point. You know Jessica's my wife. She told her coworker, "Oh yeah, my husband, you know, adopted a cat." And then the coworker, who I guess is into cats, was like, "Oh, that's so cool. Like, what kind?" And then Jessica's like, "What kind? Like, I don't know. Aren't all cats like the same? Like, what is that, right?" I was like, I mean, tabby, that's one type. I don't know.
Long hair, short hair. I also don't know how to classify cats except for the color that they are and the size.
Exactly. Is it orange? Is it black and white? Like what's
big,
going on with that?
Big thick cat, fluffy tail. I don't know.
Right. Oh man, yeah. I'm obsessed with cats. So musical influences. So here's a question I haven't asked people in a while, but I'll ask you. Let's think about this and see if you can give me an answer. So you're going to like a dream concert of yours, and you're going to have 5 artists spanning the history of time that are performing at this concert. Take a moment. Do a little deep breathing. Take a moment. Yoga breathing. Think about because this is a big deal. And it's not going to happen, so you don't have to like stress about it like, I
know. Like
but you want it to be, it's on record, though.
It might manifest.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Elton John, like in his prime,
wow,
troubadour Elton John.
Okay. Nice.
New, like, there's one artist. She's a Canadian artist. Her name is Lights. I have been following her since she was on MySpace, and I've never seen her live. So I have to throw her in there because she's like one of my favorite artists of all time, and I've just never seen her live.
Is it Light?
Yeah, Lights. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like you'll Google it and like light bulbs will come up, but also she will come up.
Okay, got it.
I feel like drawn to pick like lots of Woodstock vibes, like maybe like Joni Mitchell or like I don't know what Linda Ronstadt, or like I don't want to pick one, but like
that like vibe as one group.
I've always loved like, you know, the 70s and the late 60s of Woodstock era, and that influenced me so much growing up. So maybe we could throw like, you know,
everyone. We
could throw a Joni Mitchell or Janis Joplin in there, or whatever. Just any like woman musician from that era would be beautiful to watch. I would love to see like the Foo Fighters, because I was also really influenced by like 90s alt rock, and I've never seen the Foo Fighters. I love Dave Grohl, and that was like 3.
That might be 4.
Is that 4?
John, Light, and then 1,000 Woodstock artists. And
You're
then
like,
Foo
okay,
Fighters.
that counts as at least two.
That counts. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Okay. We need to like put someone in there to like really shake it up. To like really bring like the dance vibe. I'm trying to think. One of the best concerts I've ever been to was the Flaming Lips, and I don't even really listen to much of their music, but it was just so like bonkers. Their show was so great. Maybe we'll throw like the Flaming Lips in there, an artist like
Just
that.
to like turn up and
To
really
turn
get,
it up, yeah.
really get the vibe going. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I love that. I don't think I've heard of the Flaming Lips. Are they older or newer or old?
No, they're an older band. I don't know. I don't think they're making music anymore. I think they broke up, but more like 90s, I think, 2000s. But they have like what would their genre be? Like alternative, progressive, rock, experimental stuff, like really experimental, cool stuff. And their live show was just bonkers. I was just so entertained by their whole show. It was awesome.
That's fire.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 90s alternative rock.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say that. Let's see the best way to say it. Some of my favorite songs are in that genre. I'm gonna name two of them. I'm curious to know if you know them, if you like them as much as I do. And these are like straight up nostalgic. Like I think like my sister is probably someone who, and my brother actually, who, you know, we have like memories of watching like TRL and like MTV like wee hours in the morning and then after school and stuff, seeing these music videos. So one of them is a song by the New Radicals. Do you know that group? You Get What You Give. Have you heard of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do know that song.
The song? Okay. You
Yes.
probably know it more so from the song than the group
Yes.
because that's okay. So that song and that music video, that's like straight like overwhelming nostalgia for me. Anytime I hear it, I'm like I remember learning it and like playing it and stuff. It's like super amazing. And the other one is Lit, My Own Worst Enemy. Right? Oh,
dude,
man.
that is my jam.
It's too good of a song to like. I like when I'm like out. So there's a place in Ocean City, Maryland that I've been to many years. Like over the summer, and there's a place called Secrets there that is like a little Jamaica, they call it, but it's like sand everywhere in a good way, not like everywhere where it shouldn't be, like on the ground and stuff. Yeah. It's like sand everywhere, just flying, getting in your face. It's like the worst time, like don't go there. But they have these amazing bands there, like at the nightclub section, and like that type of there's like a band that we've seen many times that plays a lot of different genres of songs, but they would focus a little like a section on that type of stuff, and I love that song so much. It's so good.
It's
right?
so good. It's so good. It's like anytime I'm like that song comes on, my husband's like, oh, your jam, or like we're working out and he's like, oh, Jordan's song is on. Like I love it so much.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm so influenced by that genre is not because like I'm a 90s baby, so I didn't really come up, and my friends didn't come up with that music, but I have a brother that's 6 years older than me. So while like myself and all my friends were like doing like the Backstreet Boys Spice Girls thing, I was also listening to like Silverchair and Foo Fighters and like, you know, all these like No Doubt and you know, Big Shiny Tunes, all these sweet bands that like my brother was listening to at the time. So he definitely like, him imparting that kind of like music onto me gave me like some confidence that I don't think I would have gotten just listening to the bands of my time. It was just like some badassery that was imparted onto me. I'm honored. Thank you, 90s alt rock gods.
Oh. Look, you just said two different. You said Backstreet Boys, which my sister was a huge fan of, and back then I didn't really like. I was like, Backstreet Boys, ew. But now, when you say, yo, Kev, you know, we're going to karaoke. What are you about to perform? Like, if you know me, you know I'm about to do some Backstreet Boys. You know I'm about to do that. And also, No Doubt. Like they have several songs that are just like, and again, a big reason of this for me, I believe, is the nostalgia. But another big part of it, it's not just like a whack song that just makes me think of, you know, simpler times. It's like when I think of something like what's the one I'm doing? You and me, we used to be together. That's Don't Speak.
Yeah.
So that song, as well as several others, are just like that's it's so good. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it was like there was just like a really awesome like edginess to the 90s, you know, like Alanis Morissette, like there was just like a really great edginess that I loved about that
I think that's a good
whole
way,
that
a
whole
great way
era
of
and that
putting it.
genre. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, so these, and we're gonna get ready to wrap up. I'm not the guy to stop exactly at an hour. Like we're gonna wrap up a little bit before. Maybe get yourself like a little, like some water, a little sparkling water to whatever. Are you streaming in a few minutes? Or is
No,
that
I
something
have to go
different?
get my son from school.
Oh well. I mean,
You got to do it.
you gotta do it. How old is your son, and how is parenting? Do you love it, or is it a lot of work?
I do. Like, he is 4.
Oh wow.
So he just went to school this year. I do love it. It's been like the most challenging yet most fulfilling thing ever. Especially the last year with him going to school. My role as like a mother has completely 180'd. And that's been like so challenging to navigate, but really also, beautiful to watch it unfold and just become like a different figure for him. Up until then, I was like straight up his caregiver and like just fully controlling, bringing him up, and now he's going off already, and I'm more of like much more on the side, guide for him, an advocate for him in school, and it's been awesome. He's the best. He's super funny.
What's his name?
His name is Roan.
Roan. How do you spell it?
Roan.
Roan. Does he look more like you or your husband?
I think he looks more like me, but he has a brain more like my husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
He's got like a scientific, logical brain. He loves to understand things, like how they work, machines, like science, stuff like that. But yeah, I think he's got more of my features.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's what I told my wife. I said, Jess, and by the way, Jess is my wife, in case you didn't know. I said, Jess, I said, I hope, I would love for like our daughter to like look like you, but I want her to like act like me. It's like kind of a compliment, but it's also kind of like, what are you trying to say right now? What exactly are you trying to say right now? That is not what I want to hear at all from you. I was like, oh, I thought that would be nice to say. I don't know. No.
I'm actually glad my kid doesn't act like me when I was his age, because I know I was like, well, he does sometimes. I was all sorts of wild when I was his age. He's got a little bit of it, but
I heard from
that
you
going around.
I heard from the source early in the conversation. I heard. Okay?
Right. Yeah, I did mention that.
Right. Okay. So where can people? What? This is a pointless question, but I'm gonna ask it. Well, no, this is actually a good question, because these episodes now are on YouTube and they're gonna be in the podcast format. So for people who are listening only, it's actually a good question to ask. So where can people find you?
I mean, I feel like you can pretty much find me everywhere. My handle is Jordinlaine. You just got to make sure you spell it right. Jordinlaine. But
that's like a song. Jordinlaine.
Now
I
everyone's...
like that. That's good. That's like some cheerleader kind of thing going on. That's good.
I didn't mean to do that, but now no one will forget.
No, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I'm creating content pretty much everywhere, or I try to. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Twitch is the biggest one. Twitch is our home base. I always point people in the direction of Twitch, because it's like the home base is where we all gather. So Twitch is the biggest one, and but I also have my music all over Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you like to listen to music. It's all there. You just gotta type my name in Google, and you should find your platform of choice up there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's one song that people should listen to that you made?
I just came out with a new song with my husband. It's called Better Without You, but it's listed under his Spotify. His name is Eklo, Eklo. You can find it on mine. You just have to scroll to the bottom, because I'm a featured artist. But it's a really cool, like, upbeat jam. And then my whole album Unfolding is also out on my Spotify, which I released last year. But if I'm going to point you in the direction of one song, I would point you to the direction of Good Guys. I love that song. I'm really like proud of how that song came out. And there's also an acoustic version too, so you can kind of, pick your poison with that one. So
awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have to go soon. I'm gonna do something with that, so I'm gonna remix it, because I've been doing this with this speaker here. This thing is like the most fun. I don't know if I haven't posted a whole bunch of stuff with it yet.
That's a speaker?
This speaker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can connect or Bluetooth, and I could slow down or speed up songs, and then I can loop them, and I can jump to different parts of it while it's playing live, and effectively remix a song in real time. And it is one of the most fun things for me, like, ever. And so
Whoa.
my thought is like, oh, for people like you and others who are releasing music who are proud of it, like, let me just make it something worse than what it originally is, probably, but something that's interesting, and share it, because that's like a cool kind of thing. So I'm like, I've been thinking of like a way to do that regularly and like make it kind of easier to find and stuff. But you can be on the lookout, because I definitely will do that to Good Guys. Not the acoustic version. You said there's a regular version with
Yes.
like regular production.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so that type is usually better for what I do on there.
That's
so I'm gonna
cool.
look for that one, and you can be on the lookout for that.
That'll be
like,
sweet. I like it. I like it when people, that's what my whole career is based off, is just taking stuff I'm inspired by and making it my own. So
Yeah.
I love it when everyone else can feel comfortable to do it too with my original stuff. It's cool.
Love it. All right, so I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
My goals with these is like, look, if I leave it feeling like I had a great talk, and my guests feel the same way, then I'm like extremely happy, and I definitely feel that way. And I think you feel that way.
I
don't
do.
know.
I felt
Oh,
like
okay.
it wasn't. I felt like it wasn't
Nice.
long enough.
I know.
There's just so
yeah.
many things that we could talk about, but
I know.
it was.
That's why we're gonna have a part 2
Yes.
of this. You guys heard it here first. We're gonna have a part 2. All right. Jordinlaine. Yes. There we go. That's the best thing ever. Okay. Go pick your son up. I will talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome chatting with you.